Hello and welcome to the Nordic Takedown podcast. My name is Jason, the Captain Kirk, and this is a podcast about Star Wars Unlimited. What can we say more? That's what it is. I'm here with my good friend and co-host Viktor. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing so fine. A little bit beat up, but mainly I'm very, very happy.
A bit beat up. It sounds like you got mugged.
Yeah, almost. No. I work with teenagers, so yeah.
So you have been emotionally mugged, which is what happens every day.
Yep.
Yep. I did that for 7 years, which is why I now work in IT.
A lot less stressful in so many ways, I bet.
Yeah. If anyone can translate that, you know exactly what I mean. So, cool. So let's talk about Star Wars. Let's talk about Star Wars Limited. We've got we got a lot to talk about, but then we're not really sure how to talk about it because there's just a lot that's happened, right? Because things are just coming. There's events after events after events. Sectors are going on at the moment. PQs are coming up. Store showdowns are being released. The dates are being released for store showdowns. But then recently we've had GothCon. What?
Everything's in full swing. Yeah, everything's in full swing now.
The sector in Richmond that you were involved in there a little bit with Loopy and their stream, late night gaming, and then. This weekend just gone, there was a tournament in Stockholm.
Yep, Card Expo. Actually, and a big trade fair for trading cards.
Yeah, that's the Trade Card Expo, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Which is really good. And I'm not sure there's really anything big happening this weekend, is there?
Nothing big in France. I can't imagine why everyone's just going there.
But why would you?
That's why there's just the two of us here.
It's the big cheese festival.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's got to be all those half-rotten cheeses.
Exactly. No, it's the sector qualifier in Lille, which neither of us are going to.
But all of the other guys are going to. So that's why we're stuck here talking about what they're going to do,
what they might be do. Should we take bets on what deck Adam takes, because we never know until he turns up to an event?
No, isn't that truth? Yeah, I know which he's not taking, and that's the one he brought this weekend.
Okay,
yeah.
I saw he put something about that. He played a Han deck, didn't he? Which is
he played the Han blue deck at the Card Expo tournament, and like he said, he's very happy he did, because now he knows he shouldn't bring that.
Yellow blue heroic isn't easy.
No, it's not easy.
It's not easy. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I was trying to push so much with Chewbacca for years and years. What do I talk about? The game's been in about a year. It feels like years. But let's start at the things that we have been involved in some way. Mostly it's what you. For myself, I've just been mainly trying out some decks with. I've got a double blue Chewbacca deck, which I've been trying out and kind of having a little bit of luck until I go up against another really heavy control deck, and then it just loses. But it's a little bit of fun because I have Euler, I basically with Colossus but then I have Queel and Cassian as a pilot, and so I just draw so much. And then hopefully overrun the board and get the big boys out when I can. So it's pretty good into aggression, which is fun. I've been having fun with Hera, with Sabine, Death Star plans. Playing that one a bit of Poe. I lost this week again with Quinlan Tarkin Town, which in our league. But I've just been playing a little bit, and then just started watching Andor, the series Andor, which is so good. The new season 2 of Andor, so not exactly but I basically work has been really, really busy the last couple of weeks, and I'm kind of releasing an application and to other partner companies, and so I've been putting a lot of hours to make sure that actually happens well. Otherwise, I kind of need a job to feed my uh,
Feed your card habit.
filled my card habit / addiction.
Yeah.
I guess is what we can call it. So that's a lot of been about what I've been doing, and then I bought a house
Yeah. And
finally.
like, if you look at it now, when you've finally got the contract for the house,
Mm.
and you gave up Lille for that, do you feel like a responsible adult person then?
Considering I'm 40 and I should have been feeling like a responsible adult person a few years ago, no, I'm still not.
No.
I still have
Yeah.
piles and piles of cards behind me. No, I am a little bit. We had to make a decision. We had to do big stuff. There's money that's changing hands and stuff, and it feels very adult kind of stuff
Yeah.
when you own something. So big scary decisions coming up as well, which is quite taxing. So yeah, hopefully once this calms down and maybe next season after the summer, I can kind of focus on a few more tournaments and be a little bit more involved. Malmo Game Week is coming up as well, so I'm already gearing myself up for Malmo Game Week, which is going to be a really good one. So yeah, that's me. You've been doing a lot though. 2
Yeah.
weeks ago, you represented Nordic Takedown podcast at GothCon.
Well, me and Gustav, and
You and
no,
Gustav,
no
you did, yeah.
small part Gustav. He certainly was carrying his weight there. I'd say
Yeah,
he would. I think he had the big boy pants on most of the time.
yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah.
that's good. But both of you were doing the Nordic Takedown. You did a live episode.
Yep.
And you were doing Twin Sons. You were teaching people Twin
Mhm.
Sons. How did that all go? We're going to be releasing that episode again on in the normal podcast feed for people who haven't found it on YouTube yet. So we'll do that alongside this one as a bonus episode. But because it was a really good listen.
I think the actual
community
episode
listen.
was really good. Actually, we
Yeah,
had
yeah.
Jacob on, who's semi-regular with the podcast.
Mhm.
And we talked about like 1 year of SVU and community building and that aspect of it. And I think we had a really good talk on that. I liked the episode. Unfortunately, it didn't like the as an event. It didn't turn out exactly the way we wanted.
Mm.
For some reason, they did not put us in the podcast room, because there is a podcast room for live podcasts at
Oh
Gotham.
wow.
Yeah, most of those podcasts, granted, are obviously RPG podcasts.
Mhm.
So they might have thought we didn't want to mix with that crowd, but given that is a room that is made for podcasts to have live episodes and have audience come in and watch a podcast, it would have made a lot of sense for us to be in that room,
Yeah,
because
because
people
we
would
could.
have just dropping by and listening in, it would have made sense.
Mm.
Instead, they had us in a room which was like an extra room of Magic the Gathering, in a completely different building than all of the other card
Oh
games,
no.
including most Magic the Gathering. So it was like there was one building across, like actually a bit from where we were. It's sort of a campus.
Mm.
And in that building, they had all the card games, all the major tournaments for all the different card games. And that's where we were at the first day, when we had all the SWU tournaments, and we had all the. We did some Twin Sons in that building that day, together with Mind Stage, the Gothenburg
Yep.
store that does a lot of events for Star Wars Unlimited. And that's also where the major Magic the Gathering tournaments were. And so everyone that was interested in card games were in that building. And we had a lot of people drop by that first day. Gustav was doing a lot of work there then.
Mm.
And then for the day that we actually had the event, they moved us to the miniatures gaming house, which was on completely other side of the campus. And they had an extra room for a smallest Magic the Gathering organization. And they'd been putting on Magic the Gathering draft tournaments, I think, in that
Right. Okay.
room the day before, and they were doing more of it later in the evening the day we were on. But no one really knew where we were, and our spot
No.
in the program was not very clearly marked what it was. It was under miscellaneous rather than what it actually was. It wasn't listed under card games. It wasn't listed under podcasts. It was under miscellaneous, really short brief. So there's room for improvement with our cooperation with GothCon for next year.
Yeah,
If we do,
hopefully.
yeah, and I really like because I think the idea is really good, and I think there's a lot to it. So we didn't actually get any audience in. No one actually came
Mm,
to see us live, but the episode itself was really cool, and we had quite a few listeners in watching it on YouTube.
mm.
Not quite a few, but a fan amount for
Yeah.
a
For live
fully advertised.
streaming,
Yeah,
like on a Saturday afternoon,
right. In the
you
middle of the
know,
night for the US audience.
yeah, exactly.
Though it wasn't the greatest of
Yeah,
times.
but we've had a lot of rewatches afterwards as well,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
been popular afterwards.
which is really good, and it was a really good, like, community based
Yep.
podcast episode, because without the community we wouldn't have the game.
Yeah. And
So
GothCon is such a great event to be at. So we I think we want to go next year again,
mm,
and hopefully get things sorted with the people organizing it, so that we are actually in the right room and that we are advertised
yeah,
correctly.
yeah.
I think we can fix that
Yeah,
now that we
and
know
the
what it
way
is.
we can try and do that is hopefully in a year's time we will be over like 100, like over 1,000 subscribers.
Right. Yeah.
We'll be a little bit bigger, hopefully, as well. So, listen, if you want us to be in those prime spots in GothCon, then make sure you get in and subscribe to us
Like,
on YouTube.
subscribe,
Subscribe, get us
all of
out
that
there.
stuff.
That'll be really, really good as well. We can go big and go hard
Yep.
on that as well. But you're doing a lot of Twin Sons as well. You're teaching Twin
Mm-hmm.
Sons,
We what?
which sounded a lot of fun.
It
Using
was
the
a lot of fun. It was so
yeah
much fun.
yeah using the one of the big Twin Sons play mats as well, which isn't it
Mm.
nice, that Twin Sons play
So
mat.
it's gorgeous. It's
Oh
gorgeous.
wow,
Love that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So we
really
did
really
that.
nice. Yeah.
Had a lot of people pop by. Mostly people that didn't know how to play Star Wars Unlimited at all. So
Mm-hmm.
most of the people we taught the game were new to the game entirely.
Yeah,
But it was fun. Great fun. Great fun.
really really nice. Okay, well, thank you both, you and especially to Gustav, who's unlike
Mm,
put in a lot of time and effort for that as
he
well,
did.
and money, because he even bought the Twin Sons deck mat
Oh, he
play
did.
mat himself.
I thought that was the stores, but
No, that
cool.
it could. I don't. Maybe he got hold of it, but I thought he was. It sounded like, I'm not sure if he bought that as well, but he got hold of
Could
it.
be.
And we also got sent one by Asmodee with the press kit, and we did an opening there. The deck pod is really nice with
Yeah,
that. With
it
those as
looked
well.
nice on the
Like,
stream you did.
oh, it's really really nice stuff they're coming out. So it's nice that they are pushing Twin Sons stuff as well, because it's a fun format.
It's a
But
very fun format.
then the week after, you were involved in the Richmond casting
Yeah, that's
with
this
Late Night Gaming.
weekend. Yeah, so Loopy reached out to me. I had him on for our Oslo PQ,
Mm.
and he was just pulling together. And you got to hand it to him. Like we were talking on the GothCon podcast about community building, and none does it more intensely than Loopy and Rebel Traitor of Take the Initiative League. Both of those guys are huge in making this community what it is. The Take the Initiative League might be one of the most important factors on bringing like competitive players together all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And Rebel Traitor is all running that all by himself, I think. And him and Loopy, between the two of them, they cast so many championships of all kinds and tournaments. They're basically casting something every weekend, I think. And for this, Loopy and Rebel Tracer reached out to a lot of people they knew had been involved in casts, so they reached out to me and asked if I wanted to join for a segment. And of course I wanted. Of course I wanted. So I was on. I did commentary for a full game together with Sea Raptor Wes, and what a fun guy! I love that guy. He was I adored doing it with him, and we had such
Yeah.
great fun. And what a great game we got to cast as well. We had this cool Young Han Data Vault deck that we got
Yeah, it was green, wasn't
to
it? Yeah.
report on. Yeah, we had a blast. Crispy was playing it, and he was actually a very innovative deck, and he's such a great player. So yeah, I had a blast calling
Yeah.
that game, and
And
I
that was
hope.
against a Cad
Yep,
Bane, wasn't it? Cad Bane red or
I think
I
so.
don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more
yeah.
standard deck, yes, but it was definitely a very interesting game, and Crispy pulled it out. I loved every second of calling that, and also
Mm,
being part of that whole cast. It was a million casters in there. We had sort of a prep room where we got where mainly Jonathan Fisher was bringing in different kind of statistics and making graphs and everything. So it was presented, and there was like I think they called it the green room, which was pretty fun, where
mm.
all of that was sorted out and then brought into the stream. So just being part of that and hanging out there with 15, 20 other casters from around the world.
That's really nice.
Yeah, it was
Really
great.
nice.
It was absolutely great, and I can't stress enough how much effort Loopy puts into these things.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't look as polished maybe as what OPE is doing, but those guys aren't pulling that from their own pockets in that same way. They're more of a company, an organization. Loopy is doing this by himself and
Hmm.
by asking people for favors, basically, and also having the postal services in the US screw him over every time. Like
Yeah, they
last
did that,
time,
didn't they? Because
yeah,
the computer didn't turn up and they had to
that
get
was last
something
time, and for
going.
this one, all the tokens that he had ordered just didn't show up, and so.
Oh,
But then people just step up, like
yeah.
he just hands it out somewhere, like a question: anyone got any tokens we can use on stream? And someone would just come by, and yeah, in this case, it was I think it was Jack from the Golden Dice podcast was just attending the event, and he had some extra sets of tokens that were appropriate for stream, so he was just fixing it for us, and
Yeah.
that's the community here, like.
Yeah.
And I think it's very much down to people like Loopy and Rebel Traitor and the way they've been approaching it from the get-go. Like, it's not a competition between content creators,
No.
and it's a community of players and of content creators, and everyone is just doing it for the community and for the fun of it. And I think that attitude that he's been bringing to the game and to the scene, if you will, that's just amazing. And I really hope that people take that to heart, and that's what I that's the kind of energy I want to bring at any corner. So yeah, that was a great experience, and
Yeah. I mean,
what a fun event that was. How diverse and meta, what crazy games we got to see.
yeah. Yeah. Because it wasn't like it was a very open meta, wasn't it? Like
It was incredibly open.
remind me what deck won the whole
So
thing was.
so the whole thing in the end um, was won by Sabine,
Yeah.
but Will, an old Star Wars gaming guy. He was in an old, I think it was a podcast for, was it Destiny or was it even like the LCG or something? He's been involved in Star Wars card gaming for a while,
Right.
and Will's been around, and he was playing a Sabine deck, and in the end he won it. But in the top cut, we have for day two. Uh, the 64 players that made day two, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 different leaders. And some of those were represented by different base combinations. 20 different leaders
Mm,
in top 64.
that's
That's
good.
crazy. The most popular being Quinlan. I think
Yeah.
most of those Quinlans would have been on Talking Town.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was just such a diverse meta and all kinds of decks. So you've got Quinlan, which is tempo mid range, and then you've got
Yeah.
Kira, which is late mid range to almost control. and you got Han Solo
Because
green,
it's
which
a green Kira, isn't it? So it
yeah,
is
yeah,
that
green
kind of
Kira.
soft control.
With different, and the Kira deck was some of it was with Data Vault, some of it was 30, and there might have been a couple of ECLs in there even. And then you got like Han Solo. Most of those would have been green, but some of them were yellow, and maybe a red one as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Sabine. Almost all of those would have been ECL. And you got Cad Bane, and those are the biggest decks. Those are the ones most represented, but they are ranging from like 17% of top 64 for Quinlan, and then Cad Bane at 10%.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if you look at what was brought to the field, like that pie chart that Jonathan made for that, you can't read it because there's so many small
yeah.
pie squeezes.
That's
Like you
good.
can't really like there was a pie slice for Dr. Afra on there because there were enough people playing Dr. Afra in this
And made
tournament.
top 64.
No, but
Oh,
for the
I do
complete
you mean
for the
just in
full
general? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's how crazy this tournament was.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
amazing.
And what was the topic?
The top 8 was a little bit more what you would have expected, I guess. But also here we only had one repeat. The only deck that had more than one person on it was that we had two Quinlan decks in the
Yeah,
top 8. So you got Michael Conroe from Secret, the new team with Sonny D and Michael Conroe and a couple of other really great players. He was King of Swiss with a Quinlan Tarkentown deck, and there was also Ben Harper on a Quinlan Tarkentown. But then you got a Cad Bane, you got a Kira, you got an Anakin, you got two different Han Solos, one yellow and one green, and you got one Sabine and ECL. So that's a very diverse top cut as well. We haven't seen this even in set 3. We wouldn't have this diverse meta. I I'm so pleased. I'm so very very pleased.
so that's awesome, and I hope we see a similar meta this weekend.
I do too.
Because that's going to be something to definitely watch out for.
Hmm.
Um, and staying on the sector qualifier stuff like that as well. Like our guys, like Adam's going to be there, Jonah's going to be there, Matthias is going over.
Hmm.
I think
Gustav
Gustav
is going.
is
Yeah,
going to be there.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, so there's a lot of the people
A large
going.
contingent from Sweden. Those
Yeah,
are the ones that are directly involved with us. And then you got people like Kevin and Niklas. I think both of those guys are going over, and there's a lot of people going. I'm pretty sure both Philip and Nicola are going. A lot of people from
yeah.
the Malmo meta, I think, are going. So there's a whole lot of people
That's really
going
good.
down
That's
there.
really good. Well, let's
Yeah.
hope we get some to pay attention. So if you guys found the podcast, look out for those names
And
during
also,
the day.
we're talking about people we have some connection to here. Spessy, who was on a couple of episodes ago,
Yep.
our friend from Locana, is actually going to be part of the cast with OPE for
Yes.
that. So OPE is casting it, and he's going to be part of the casting. And that kind of brings me over to the other thing that happened this weekend.
Exactly, because Specky was even there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was there as well. You were at the Card Expo Winner Box tournament in
Right.
Stockholm.
Yep.
Just five round Swiss.
Yeah, it's a smaller
Was
tournament because of
smaller tournament was was there a top cut for that?
no top
No,
cut.
no,
We
just
just
literally
did
just
5 rounds of
Swiss.
splits. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
also stressful in its own way. I was the defending champion. I won it last time,
Yep, exactly.
so I had a lot
And
to
then a
prove.
Sabine went and won it again this time. Like
Yeah,
boring. No, I'm just
yeah,
joking.
I don't think so.
Congratulations, Victor. You did defend your title.
Yeah, it did come down to tiebreakers in the end because there were 4 of us that were
Yeah.
4-1 in the end.
Okay.
And all of us were so I beat Niklas Lindroth, the
Okay. Yep.
Copenhagen PQ winner, in the
Yep.
first round, and then he went undefeated in submarine all the way up, and then I got beat in the almost second to last round by this guy Eric from Eskilstuna, and then Niklas beat him in the last round, and I won my game. So we were all 4-1, and then Nicola had only one loss, but he had a pretty poor strength of schedule, so
Mm.
he didn't. And I think maybe Kevin was 4-1 as well. There were quite a lot of people that were in the running but had too poor of a strength of schedule to actually be in the running. So me, Eric, and Niklas were all fairly close,
Yeah.
and I got it on
And
time.
Kevin, I mean, Kevin was on Sabine, I guess. So, and
Oh
he
yeah,
even
me and
came
Kevin were the
officially
only speed.
eighth place
Yeah,
as well. So the whole top eight was 4-1.
maybe could have
Yeah.
been. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. No, that's not true.
No, it can't have been then.
Because Adam wasn't 4-1. Adam was
No.
3-2.
Yeah, and he came seventh then, if that's the hand
Yeah,
solo.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Kevin can't have been 4-1 then.
No, he
Yep.
must have also been the 3-2. But yeah.
Oh, it was really
Awesome.
exciting anyway. I was rooting for Nicholas because I finished my game fairly quickly, I think, with Edwin. He was playing Han Green, and that's a really poor matchup for Sabine. But I managed to squeeze it out 2-1, and with time to spare, obviously. And then Nicholas was playing Pilot Vader Blue into a Boba Yellow, new Boba 4 Yellow.
Yeah.
Of Eric, and they were finishing up that game about the same time as we were, and Nicholas did squeeze it out, which actually made me win then.
Yeah, actually. And then I even see here that he had a Luke Skywalker ECL deck in fifth, and that was Specky.
That was Spessy. Yeah, he had to drop for the last round, but he lost in the fourth round. So and he dropped for the fifth round because he had to run to the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But like, cause I remember the Luke Skywalker deck because that's the one he was building on stream and everything, and ended up going
For sure.
for the Malmo tournament. Ended up going with Sabine, but he stuck with the Luke Skywalker thing here, which was really good actually. The speed that guy has come into the game and understood it is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he put a lot of effort into it, and he's been talking to a lot of us guys and a lot of people in the UK about the game, and he's been going to some tournaments, and he's been, sitting there prepping with people for Lille a lot. I know he told me about it, and he's really done his homework here. He's serious about learning this game, and the guy knows card games. I mean, he's no beginner here, so he picks it up really fast, and he gets it.
No, he did. And actually, if you want to see how quickly he gets it, I did a video with him. It's a good hour long, so and it's a bit of a good one. But we did, and as you helped me with the research
with the
on this
cards
as well with the cards. Yeah, so he did 10 cards, and we put 10 cards forward to him, and he had to guess if they were good or bad. And by the end of it, he was getting there. He was understanding as we were going through the cards, explaining what they do. That actually what is good and what isn't so good about the game, what you kind of want to look for as well. You can kind of see even with that hour video, the conversation we were having, the where he was getting to as well. So you should go and give that one a look, and also I contributed to stuff,
yeah.
so
I think so. Yeah,
that went pretty well. Well, congratulations for that one. And these little tournaments that pop up, and it's just really, really good to see. It was organized by Card Expo Winnerbox, but was it someone in our community organized?
Yeah, Chris or Takanuki, I think his nickname is. He organized it because he's part of the Card Expo organizers, and then obviously Philip TO'd it, and Andromandrex on all the servers. He's TOing, I'd say, half of all events in Stockholm, and the other half would be Nicola. And those two guys, they are a little bit like Lauren Hardy, I guess. They always come together, and they always have a bickering.
There's two different ways to do it, and both are just as good.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what we've been doing
I think
recently,
so.
and
Yeah.
the stuff that has been going on.
We do have a lot of things coming up, apart from
We
obviously all
do.
the tournaments that are coming up, and especially Lille this weekend, obviously. But we do have a lot of things that are coming up in content wise. So we are looking forward to. So we've got Lille this weekend, and the weekend after there's the Stockholm PQ.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have not been able to get our um, our stuff together enough to actually cast the PQs this season.
Not yet, anyway. Not
No,
yet, anyway. There has been some conversation, and I've been trying to look into see if we have the ability to do that as well. Because, like, trying to get together and cast, if we can't get there, it does take a lot of energy. But hopefully we can do some of them.
yeah, that's the
Um,
hope still,
yeah.
but nothing is solid for that yet.
No,
We,
exactly. But the dates for those, you've got Stockholm is on May the 10th.
mhm,
Um, May 24th, we have the Denmark one, and
mhm,
that's in ICAST. So not in
yeah,
Copenhagen, but in
yeah.
ICAST.
On
Then on,
so that's a little bit out of the
yeah,
way,
and then in Vantaa in Finland on the
and
same
that
day.
is yeah, and that's the same place where the last PQ was in Finland. So it's
Yeah,
actually in Helsinki. It's a
yeah.
suburb, sort of.
Okay. Okay,
Um,
that's it there. Yeah,
yeah,
yep. And then June 21st, like a month after that, we have the Moss in Norway.
yeah. So they
Um,
have chosen to go with the places outside uh, of the capital areas for both Denmark and Norway for some reason. Even though Moss isn't very far
it's
from
only about
Oslo, I don't think.
half an hour, isn't it, from Oslo? It's not
I think so.
too
Yeah.
for half hour, 40 minutes, stuff like that. But they've a big gaming community. A lot of those guys came in for the Oslo one actually,
All right. Yeah. So it does
as
make
well.
sense locally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it's not that bad getting up, and it's actually close to the Swedish border.
Right. Right.
Just go
So
straight up the E6, and you would get there before you get to Oslo. So and that's long enough apart to do. You have your May tournament and your
yeah.
June tournament. So they're really good to go to. The Norwegian community is a lot of fun. We had a blast when we when we went up there.
I bet.
But hopefully we will be able to cast these.
Yeah, that's still the ambition. We
That
still
is
want to cast as much as we could.
absolutely. So if that's the case, at least they're a little bit further spread apart so that we can do that. And then obviously we have um, uh, the store showdowns, which obviously
Yeah.
PQs, we want to put energy into PQs, store showdowns. If they're available, we can do those as well. A couple other events actually going to come up. Well, one of the that we know that I've heard that will looks like it will be happening in May. They're trying to sort out a Twin Suns thing in Malmo.
Hmm. Yeah.
And maybe another Twin Suns up in another place in Sweden at some point as well. So some Twin
The
Suns
format
tournaments,
is growing.
which is really really fun. I just don't have time to actually put the cards together to build a Twin Suns deck. It's fun. It's like I've got the theory. I've put them together online, but actually getting the cards out and going right, okay, now actually put these into a thing. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I
an
built my
actual deck.
first one. I built my
Yeah,
first one for Gothenburg
yeah,
last weekend,
yeah.
and it was actually it was much more effort building it than I thought
Yeah.
it would be. I thought I just throw something together, but and when once you start fiddling with the cards, I can't help myself. I'm starting to think like analytically about it
Yeah.
anyway, even though it's just for fun. So
Yeah.
there was a lot more effort put into the deck than I intended, and I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. It's really weird. Like you can't just take a it's not always as simple as just taking a normal competitive deck
Oh
and
no,
adding stuff to it, one of each, and then
no!
adding stuff to it. It really isn't, because when you're actually playing, if you
It's
have
very
obviously too
different.
many top end stuff,
Yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
you're not going to have anything out there. So you need to have enough units. You need to have
Yeah.
answers.
You need to work
Uh,
with the curve, but
yeah,
even more importantly, the whole game works differently.
yeah,
You have three opponents,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
so you have to think about it differently,
yeah.
and things are worth. Cards work differently in this format, so
Hmm.
cards that might not be playable at all in competitive Premier are highly competitive cards in
Mm,
Twin Suns, and vice versa. Cards that are incredibly strong in Premier might not do much of it
no,
at all
no.
in this format.
Yeah, no. So that's something there's been a lot of fun to try and just put my stuff together, because I've done better with Twin Sons than I have done in competitive myself.
Mm.
I've only played 5 games and won 3 of them. So and that's where Chewbacca's good.
Yeah,
You can put
Sentinel is
sentinels.
one of
You
those
can put
things that
sentinels out, and people don't want to touch me
no,
until
yeah,
they realise, well, hang on a second, Chewbacca's a bit of an issue over there.
yeah, yeah.
We need to do something.
No,
Yeah.
Sentinel is definitely a keyword that's evaluated differently in the two formats.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly. Well, this has been a fun chat with a little bit of a, the FOMO of Lille coming up, that where we want to we want to be there. I so wanted to be there. International Star Wars Day coming up on Sunday.
hmm
May the fourth be with you. Uh, there's so much going on with these sector qualifiers, and they've sorted out the prize warning as well, where
yeah,
I think
they're working on it.
the
Sorted
first one,
out.
they was a bit
Yeah,
too expensive and stuff like that. I
yeah, and they
don't know
didn't even
what they
have the
did there.
stuff.
They didn't even
They,
have all the stuff as
the
well.
stuff got stuck in customs, and there were so many issues.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they're working on. They've listened to people, and they are
yeah,
trying to improve it. So
yeah.
it's not
I,
going to be perfect yet,
no,
because they haven't been able to
no.
adjust everything.
I heard
But
some
they're
good stuff
doing
coming
what they
from
can.
Richmond. I had
Yeah,
some really good stuff coming from Richmond,
yeah,
actually, where
yeah,
people they're really happy with, they could play, they could have fun on the side events,
yeah.
and do that as well. Now, the side events is one of the reasons I really wanted to go there as well. So
Isn't
yeah,
it?
and also that Chimera, the new Chimera artwork playmat.
Yeah, looks so good.
If
Looks so
anyone
good.
wants to be nice to me, you reach out to me, get my address, and send me one.
Yeah.
It's just such an incredible playmat there as well.
We have a couple of things we need to plug as well. Like
Yeah,
Adam really wanted us to plug the new Enigma Discord channel. So Adam, as you might have heard on last week's episode, joined Team Enigma. So
yep.
I'm So Humble is called TNT. I'm So Humbled Enigma for a reason, because he's on the competitive team with Thork and Swoop Races and Dylan and all those guys, and Al. More,
Yep.
no,
And I've just
not
joined it
least.
right this second as well. So
Yeah. So that you didn't join the team, but the Discord server, I think, right?
no, I've just joined the Discord server, as
Yeah,
well.
and
Yeah, yeah,
everyone should. It's going to be a nice and
yeah.
cool Discord server with a lot of interesting stuff on it. So, plugging that, they just open it up for everyone to be a community part of the
Yeah, a bit
community.
more international
Yeah.
community across things as well, and we'll
Yeah.
have some
Also,
good competitive level stuff going out there. So, what else do we need to plug? There's some other stuff coming up.
yeah, we have something I'm very excited about. We have two things I'm very excited about. We basically next week's episode is in the works, right? Already for the Nordic Takedown. I've got a stellar
Yes.
guest on. So next week we're gonna have Jonathan Fisher on from Bottom Network, and from the Across the Network podcast. And he is really deep into tournament stats and working with stats for Star Wars Unlimited. And he got his I don't know, teeth wet or something, what you call it, this weekend doing all the graphs for the Richmond cast. And his friend
He's
from
got
the
some good plans coming up.
he's got some really
Let's
interesting
not
plans.
spoil anything
No,
just yet.
but
But
the Lego Pizza Ian won't let him talk about it too much on their own podcast. and I really want to talk about it. So we decided to bring him on our podcast, and we're going to bring in Pontus, our own graphs designer, who's always getting our tournament statistics for our casts. We're gonna deep dive into what you can do with the stats and how fun that can be. Actually, for some of the people listening, that's going to sound very, very exciting, and for some, less so.
I
But
mean,
I think,
like you can't ignore statistics. Statistics I think are a relevant part of the game, at least in some ways.
yeah,
So I think it should definitely, even if you're not big into it, it's definitely worth listening about. I'm excited for this because I work with Power BI for a job, so I like the data and stats and stuff. That's always good fun to see what you can do with that. So yeah, cool.
I think it's going to be a cool one. Yeah, and Jonathan is such a cool guy.
Yeah.
Love to have him on. And then also, I want to plug it's unfortunately it's been stuck in production for a while now, but I'm still working on my State of Sabine video, and it's getting
Ah.
more and more relevant by the day. So at the time I'm releasing it, maybe we're talking about banning Sabine. What do I know? But when I started working on the video, and the first parts that were recorded of it, Sabine was a French deck.
Yeah.
And by the end, when I actually released the
That's
video,
going to be a fun one.
it's going to be people talking about the problem of Sabine, I guess.
Yeah. Right, cool. Well, I think we should call it there. It's just been a shorter kind of catch-up episode as well, kind of trying to, the calm before the storm of the Lille SQ coming up this week as well. So good luck to all of you that are going out there to play. We will be watching from afar, cheering you all on. But until then, we will say thank you from us, and may the force be with you all.
Have a good
Good
one.
night.